Hello everybody, my name's Steve, I'm the British Railroader and welcome to my model railroad room where today I'm going to show you how to fit flicker-free lighting to your passenger cars. So how often have you bought a new passenger car, or a coach as we call them over here in the UK, and it's come with factory fitted lighting, but as it runs over the rails, it flickers. It's really annoying. And what I'm going to do today is show you a method where you can replace the lighting circuit quite simply with components that you can get online. And you can then fit this to your coaches and it reduces the amount of flicker. And it's kind of based on the same technology as keeper lives, because we're going to use a capacitor just to give that brief amount of power to the lighting circuit to stop it from flickering. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go over to the layout and we'll show you what I'm talking about. And then we'll go down onto the workbench and I'll show you how to fit them. So if we have a look at this coach here, this has got factory fitted lighting. And as you can see, even just moving it just a little bit, it flickers. I mean, it flickers a lot. It doesn't take much to make it flicker. A little bit of a rock, and it goes. And it's really annoying that when you've got your trains going through, it flickers like that. Now, I know in real life, anything on the railway, you'll get flickering lights and whatever. I mean, you know, I've travelled along the London Underground most of my life, and quite used to lights flickering. But at this scale, the flickering, which it's not going to do now, which is just typical, but the flickering, sometimes it can be almost like strobe lighting. So what I want to do is I'm going to remove the factory fitted lighting for something else, which is also a little bit brighter, because this is quite dull and doesn't give any even lighting. So let's move down to the workbench and we'll take a little look. Okay, here we are down on the workbench, and I've got all of my bits and pieces that I'm going to need for this ready. Now, just a quick word, I have done a little bit of pre-soldering, just attaching wires to things, because at the end of the day, you don't need to see me doing all of that. So we've got our coach, which we're going to take apart, which for these is quite easy. You just pull the sides apart and this comes off. And we have here the lighting board, which just unclips like so. Put that to one side. And then we have here these little prongs. This is just how it picks up from the track. They do just come out. What I'm going to do is I am going to take the seating off. And again, this just unclips. He says, always easier when you do this off camera. Anyway, so unclip that and take that off. So that reveals underneath you've got the pickups, etc. And then under here you've got the pickups. So these metal prongs touch these pickups under here, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to solder to those. So we want to get rid of these, and they do, if I recall, yep, they just come out. So we don't need them at both ends, simply because the pickups actually run all the way through, so there's no need for that. Okay, going to just move that to one side for a minute. In fact, move all of that to one side for a minute. So we're not going to be doing anything to this. All of the wiring is going to be done under here, the soldering, and it's only going to be one part. And what I've decided is I tend to do it at this end where the toilet is. Just, I don't know why. I have the pickups at that end and we have the other bits of that. So let's just look at what we need. So first thing we need is some LEDs. So these are 12 volt LEDs. These are warm white because obviously you don't want a bright white in an older coach. You might want to use a bright white if you're doing this in a more modern passenger car, we need a bridge rectifier. So this basically, for those that don't know, converts any electrical signal into positive and negative. So this will work on AC, DC, and DCC. So you've got the track inputs are here, and this comes out, and one of these is positive and the other one is negative. And then that can be wired to this, to the appropriate side, so that you get the right flow of electricity. What we've also got is a resistor. This is just a 620 ohm, I think it's a 10 milliamp resistor, just to lower the current a little bit. And then here we have a capacitor. This is a very small capacitor. It takes up to 25 volts, so this is perfect for model railways because you're very unlikely to overload it. And it's a 330 microfarad capacitor. Now, I'm not an expert on what a farad is, etc. All I know is that this works. It gives a good it gives a good amount of output to stop your lighting from flickering. Anyway, so let's put all this together. So on your strip, somewhere it will tell you which side is positive and which side is negative. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little positive there and a negative there. So we know that's positive, that's negative. I'm just going to weigh that down. And on this, we have, so this is positive and this is negative. So we're going to solder that just there. That's soldered on. And then what we're going to do at this end, again, I'm just going to weigh that down because this strip gets a little funny. I'm just going to solder a wire to one output. Doesn't matter which one. And then just put a bit of tin that bit. And then we'll put the capacitor on the other. No, not the capacitor, the resistor. Okay, so that is, as it were, the track end done. And then at the other end, again, you want to make sure you work out which one's your positive and your negative. So negative is this side, positive is this side, and then the negative leg on your capacitor, it's got a big minus on it. So make sure you wire this up the correct way. Just going to trim those down a little bit because they're a bit long. There we go. And then same again, weigh this down. There we go. So this is the circuit. So you have the capacitor at one end, the bridge rectifier at the other. And that will, if I just get a battery out and we test this, so it should work no matter which way round we do it. See if I can get this all in shot, shall we? Okay, we're back. And let's just hook this up. And as you can see, the lights come on. I had a loose connection that wasn't properly soldered, so I've done that. Not very bright on here, but we're only using 9 volts at the moment. But again, if I swap these wires around and put them on a different polarity, they still work. So this shows that this will work no matter what. So the next thing that we've got to do is we've got to get it fitted to the coach. So we're going to take our section here, turn it upside down, and the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to add a blob of solder to each of these contacts here and here. that just gets it done and out of the way. Just being very careful that, bearing in mind you've got plastic under here that you do not want to really melt. 1. Come on. 2. There's that. Then turning this back over. So what we're going to do is we're going to feed these wires down through the holes that the original pickups were in. Now, to do that, I'm just going to bend these slightly out of the way. And bend those back in a moment. And then, again, this is always easier off camera. I think one of my wires has got a huge blob of solder on it where I've tinned it, so it's not going to go through easily. So the first one, nice and easy. Second one, just bear with me. There we go. There. So they've gone through. Turn that over. Bend those back in place like so. And then it's just a matter of soldering to each of the contacts. He says. And life is always easier when you're not on camera. That one's just pinged off. So I just want to move that because I don't want to. Last thing I want to do is get my soldering iron to damage my coach, considering how difficult it is to find these coaches. Yay, there's one. And then again, God, this is difficult. Fiddly. Hence the reason why I don't tend to like to do soldering on camera. There we go. So that's all soldered. Pull the excess through here and here just to, oops, to tidy it up, because a load of it will be able to go into the carriage. Yeah. Okay, right. We're at a stage now, so we can clip that back on there. That clips on just nicely. Make sure that's all in. And then we've got our coach here. And then what we need to do is mount this on the ceiling. Just untwirl it. And I'm just going to bend that down because otherwise there's not going to be enough room in the coach. I'm going to take this backing off because this is self-adhesive. And always easier off camera. So take that off. And then you can see that fits nicely in the coach, just along there. So that's glue, that's stuck down the center line. And then when we reassemble this, it should be fiddly, but all of the electronics and wires should sit nicely in the vestibules, which is obviously a good place for your electrics, like so. So that's the coach all back together. And I think what we need to do next is take it up and make sure that this thing works. Okay, so here we are up on the layout and we've got the coach on here. And as you can see, the lights are on. So we're just going to move her. And we've got virtually no flicker at all. Now, obviously, if she comes off the track, the lights go off. But and it is almost instantaneous. What you'll find is, this is on DCC, if she's running on DC, the capacitor actually builds up a little bit more, so you'll actually get a little bit more come through, and the lights will fade more rather than on DCC, they just seem to go on and off. So if you have got a massive break anywhere, you are going to get a problem with flickering lights. But for the most part, he says, let's take her through some point work. There we have Coach with flicker-free lighting. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope you found it useful. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions at all, feel free to either put a comment down below, or you can email me at this email address that is coming along the screen right now. But if you haven't done so already, please consider hitting the subscribe button, and when you do, the bell comes up, click it and press all, and you'll be notified of all of my new videos as they come out. But that's it for today. Thanks again for watching. My name's Steve. I'm the British Railroader. I'm saying goodbye from my model railroad room. Bye bye.